So I got DZMS updated for Overpoch. I'm going to show you some of the changes I made. You can see here I have the Epoch one and the Overpoch one, the DZMS folder. Let's just go through. Yeah, so let's go. Come on. Come on, this shadow place just keeps hitting the back button. It's crazy. So let me open up just these individual files and show you the changes I made. So there's Epoch, the config file. Let's back up. There's Overpoch, the config file. Move this to other view. Okay, so this is the Overpoch one. I added, like I did with the Wicked AI system, I added a variable here that you can get coins on your AI if you have ZSE installed. Just set this to true and your AI will have money in their wallets or coins, whatever you have your variable set at. Let me go scroll down a bit here. I didn't change any of this stuff. Down here to the choppers, you can see there was only 2 choppers in the Epoch version, and they were DZ, so you couldn't sell them at the Epoch traders. So I swapped those out with the DZE versions that are in the Epoch traders, and I added a few. Some of these are not armed. These 2 are armed. This one is armed. The Merlin and the Medevac. Blackhawk or not, but I just added a few. You can add other ones if you want. Just get the class names and tack them on the end. Just remember that the last one does not have a comma. Small vehicles list, same thing. I think this one doesn't sell at the traders, so I changed it to this one. I got all these class names out of the traders, so the stock Epoch traders, you can sell all of these, and I just added a few. Random ones. You can add extras if you want. Just get the class names and tack them on. Large vehicles. I don't think one of these wasn't in the traders, but all the ones that I have here are in the Epoch traders by default. So, and I just added a few again. You can sell all those at the traders. The mission arrays, you can see there was 6 of each in the Epoch version. I went into the EMS mission system and added a few of these. You can see they're not, I just grabbed some, like the SM8 is not there because it was redundant. It was the same as one of the other missions. But I've added a bunch of missions. So there's 13 here and there's 7 here. This one's called like Hillbillies. And it's basically the same as Stash House. If you've done Stash House, it's basically the same. It's just slightly different. It's kind of meh, I left it in there. You can remove it if you want. Any of these missions, you just take them out. This is just the array that it does the random spawning of missions from. If you don't like one of the missions, just take them out. And I've got a file that explains each of these missions and what they are. This is the same. Yeah, that's all I did in there was just flesh these out a little bit, added more missions. So let's look at functions. I don't think I changed anything. I think I did change one thing, and that is where it spawns the weapons from. There's 4 different classes of AI, skill levels, and they all had their own weapon arrays in Epoch, but it was a bit redundant, and I just made one list, and they all pull from the same array of weapons. So you can see it just says DZMS WEPs here. All 4 classes just pull from the same array. So that's the only change I made there. Let's look in it. I did change the name of this file. Let me pull this out of here so I can. There. I can open the Epoch. So this used to, in Epoch, it used to say DZMS weapon crate list, but that's a bit confusing because the crates can have building supplies and stuff, so I changed the name of it to DZMS crate config, and where that's called is here in the init file. It's right here. I just changed the name, and I just changed the name here where it's called. Moving on, let's see. So let's go into the configs then. This is the Overpoch configs. This is the Epoch configs. AI for Overpoch. AI for Epoch. Move this over. So I added, a couple of different skins. You can add any skin names you want in here. For, just go to the Bandit Trader and get the class names and just add them in here. Not a big deal. I didn't do anything to the skills lists. I left those alone. Here's where I made the big change here. Each one of these skill lists had its own array of weapons, but there's a lot of redundancy in here. You can see that there's an M16 here, there's an M16 here. Some of them have a, what is there, a DMR here. There's a DMR somewhere else in here. Yeah, right here. So there's some redundancy in here, and these weapon lists are kind of short, so it doesn't make that much of a difference. So I just got rid of all 4 of these different arrays, because if you had 4 arrays full of Overpoch weapons, that would be ridiculous. So they're all just pulling from one array, and it's very randomized. It works good. I've tested that. So this new array here is just called DZMS Weps instead of having the number behind it. And I used Notepad++ to dump all these in, and then into one file, and then get rid of duplicates. So these are all the Epoch guns combined from here. And then I started with the Overwatch weapons. And I've separated these with comments so that if you don't want, say these are Overwatch ACR, the black variants, you can just select this whole thing and simply delete it. Just delete it out of there if you don't want them. And they're all separated that same way. There's all the ACRs, tan, woodland. Here's AKs for Overwatch. What's called spare guns. Those are the Galil and the SKS. K98s, SCARs, SMGs, the snipers. I added that one later because just for the hell of it. The Tavors, the G3s. Yeah, see, they're all separated. So if you don't want, these in there, you just select that whole thing and delete. They're all in there. The very last one doesn't have a comma, remember. And when it's closing a class, you don't have a comma. But they're all in there. And the random spawning works good. I thought it would be kind of ACR heavy, and sometimes it is, but not really. The gear classes, you can see that was very short. There wasn't much in there. I fleshed these out with more items. There's more, there's food and drink in each of these. More randomized medical supplies. Instead of just knife and flashlight, you got different shit like toolbox, e-tool, matchbox, and there's all of these are different. Sledgehammer. There's a range finders right there. And the backpack list, I think I just added this large gun bag. This Epoch is the one that eBay Shopper did. So all of the class names are correct in here. That's that for that one. Let's look. I want to show you this crate config. Okay, let's look at. There's the Epoch one. And here's the Overpoch one. Move this over. Okay, so you see there's a lot more stuff in the Overpoch one. And that's because in the Epoch, let me show you this other one here. In the scripts folder in box, DZMS box, let me get the Overpoch one. Okay, and which one is this? This is the Epoch. This is the Epoch. So let me move this over to the other one. Okay, so in the Epoch DZMS box.sqf, this is where it spawns stuff into crates. A Vampire had some of these arrays in here. These are actually arrays of like there's backpacks, there's these grenades and shells, medical supplies and money. I don't know why they were in here. They should have been in the configs. If you're gonna make a config, then you know, they're not in here. They're in here. So in order to modify these, you do it in here. But I changed that so that I pulled these out. You see they're not in here. They're in here. So backpack list is right here. The what I call it, DZMS grenade list. That's the grenades and shells. That's right there. Medical supplies are here. And this money crate, which it's not being called in any mission, but I left it in there as an option. I changed it to high value, kind of like the Wicked AI system. This had these like silver bars and gold. I changed it to DZMS high value, and there's a briefcase and a safe in there. That's, you can add stuff to this if you want. They're just high value items, and I'll show you how to call it in a mission. But anyways, all of the configs are in this, for the crates, are in this DZMS crate config, versus some of them being in here in this DZMS box. That's been wiped. So that's just easier, you know. And in this DZMS crate config, which is the same as that equivalent of weapon crate list in Epoch, all of the Epoch, I mean the Overwatch weapons are added in here in these weapon arrays. You can just see them. They're you know, they're just all in there. G36s. This is the what they call primary SMG snipers. They're all in there. I added some of these, like, you know, just to make these more even, so they spawn more even in the crate. I put, you know, DMRs in here instead of here, just so that, you know, because that list is huge. It's got ACRs and stuff in there. And yeah, all of the LMGs and the SMGs are in the same list. You could go through and customize. I did some custom crate work in there. You could make separate arrays and have it spawn separately, but it just got to be too much, so I left it alone. I just put them in there and I checked it. It works good. There's no problems with it. But if you wanted to customize it further, you could do that. Sniper list, of course. That's just, you know, all of the Epoch snipers and all of the Overwatch, you know, this random Overwatch sniper type stuff. Pistol list, of course. Added the Overwatch pistols. And I added some new arrays here. Just, they have this DZMS con supply, which is construction supplies, cinder blocks, and that kind of stuff. I changed that list a little bit to stuff because people don't want goofy stuff like tents. I took those out because, you know, that stuff is cheap. People don't want that stuff. Generator, I took that out. Workbench, you can build that with 2 pieces of plywood and a piece of lumber. You know, nobody wants that. I added this one here. This one called DZMS buildables. These are the prefab buildables. I got these class names for like cinder wall, door kit, garage kit, metal floor. What is there? Wood floor. There's wood walls, wood garage doors, wood ramp, fire barrel kit. You can add anything to there as you want. You know, just add a comment and just tack on more class names if you want more variety, or maybe you don't want these at all. You can change all that. Medical supplies, I think I just added the antibacterial wipe, which is new. Backpack list, I think I added the large gun bag. No, I didn't even do that. That's it for this. These are all just what you can call in the crates. And I'll show you how I customize that in the actual crate. So this is the where the crates spawn. not what they spawn. This is the items that go in there. DZMS box.sqf. This is the Epoch one. This is the Overpoch one. And you can see here, this was calling this medical. It's calling it there. But instead, I put the, in the configs. There's medical supplies. It calls it here. Instead of how it was done here, I just changed it. I did change the medical crate. I didn't change. That's the same. The weapon crates, I added a new crate. So this one here, this weapon crate is called small yield. And small yield because it doesn't select much. Excuse me. You see that all of these are, it calls all of these and just adds it to the crate. So I made a second one here called Weapon Crate Large Yield, and it's called Weapons 2. So if you go into your missions, you can call this just by putting the crate name in there. This one is just called Weapons, like this one was. So Weapons 2 is a new crate, and all I did was bump these numbers up. You can see that this used to be called shells because it was right there, but now it's being called from the config file. Yeah, right there. So all I did was bump these numbers up. So snipers, you can see it says 0 to 1. This one says 0 to 3. This says 0 to 3 on SMGs. Primary, I think I got 5 in there, 0 to 5. And it just spawns more guns. It's just if you want to change any of these, if you want more guns or less guns, you just change these numbers. Change a 5 to a 10 and you'll get more guns. Any of these lists. For this, that applies to anything. If you want more medical supplies, change 40 to 80 or whatever. So there, new crate with large yield. I did the same thing to the supply crates. There's a supply crate small yield, which is construction tools like your toolboxes and stuff. It puts that in there, and then the bricks and that kind of the wood, build like the stuff you craft stuff with, like the lumber and plywood and stuff. That's in the small crate, and I made a large crate here. This has those buildables in it, those prefab buildables. So this crate is called Supply 2, and it will spawn these buildables right here. The prefab stuff like the metal floors and the cinder walls and stuff like that. Whatever was in DZMS buildables. Yeah, any of this stuff here will spawn in there. And I could, again, change if you want more, just add more. This one, it used to be called Money Crate, but I changed it to that high value. None of the missions by default, none of them call for this crate at all. But if you wanted to, you could spawn in a crate on a mission and call this crate type and put whatever you want in there. You can add items to this, if you want plot poles and that kind of stuff. If you want to, without spawning a new crate, if you wanted to have this high value stuff in there, however many you want, you see how it's just starting with S count here? Don't call the crate part, just call this. So if you wanted to put this in this large yield crate, you just go on the end there, paste that in there, and it will call this and add those items to the crate. I just left that in there so you could do that. So if you want this high value items, a chance for high value items, you could lower this to like 1 so that there's a 50% chance that you will get a high value item like a safe or a briefcase. You can just add it like that if you want. That's it. That's all I got to show you on that. And no, I don't want to save it. Close that. Okay, that's good. That's the crates. Let's move on here. AI spawn is where you add the option for coin system, or for adding coins to the AI wallets. I do it here where it says remove all weapons and remove all items. That clears, like, some of the AI skins have a gear associated with them. So what this does is it removes all that crap and gives you a fresh AI with nothing on it. And this is where it starts adding weapons, adding gear. So you just add the money right here, right underneath there. You can have it above there, I think, but I just do it like this because it seems logical. So again, there's the variable I created. And I changed this. The Wicked AI system is more difficult, so the reward is a little more. Like, you get 1,000 coins, like up to 10,000 coins. This one I changed to 500, so 10 times 500 is 5,000 coins. So you can get, random number in 500 time increments up to 5,000. Again, there's the ZSC variable. That's all I did in there. Box I showed you. So the last thing I need to show you is the missions themselves. There was some problems I had with the missions. Let's back up here. Okay, this is a mission list, and some of the this was a working. I was just adding notes here as I was doing the missions. But you can see here, this is the list of all the missions that are the major ones and what they're called. This is a C-130 crash, NATO weapons cache, and I put little notes behind there. What was happening, these ammo boxes, the old ones used to spawn loot. These ones are not spawning loot anymore, and I think it has to do with the new random box spawn where, random stuff goes in these little ammo boxes instead of a set amount. So they're not spawning loot. So, and neither are these medical boxes, these DZ_med boxes that are in some of these missions. They don't spawn loot either. So what I did was, like on this SM1 major mission, which is NATO weapons cache, where it's calling for these ammo boxes, I just commented them out so they're not spawning at all. Maybe we can come up with a solution for that later. But for now, I just commented them out so they don't spawn. Same with this SM3, the medical boxes. Right here is where the medical boxes spawn in. I just commented that out so they don't spawn at all. I did the same on this medical cache mission. SM6. Yeah, see, they're commented out. Let's see. Some of these missions, like this SM12, these were from EMS. Who's got the EMS? There's the EMS 0.3. Who? I don't know who the guy was that created it. I think it's in the, oh, the Fox. That's who made it. The Fox. So credit to the Fox for that. It's based on DZMS, but it was, the missions were changed, so I had to go in there and change a lot of the code because the AI were spawned differently and some of the other stuff was different. So I just changed it. I grabbed a few of these that, some of them were really redundant and really like this constructors. It's just, it's a building supplies mission, so it has that supply to crate. It's just a bunch of AI with a crate. There's nothing, it's just pretty primitive. I left it in there, test it. If you don't want it, take it out of the list in the config. This APC's mission you might want to address because it has these high-end APC vehicles, the high armored ones with the, this has a big cannon on it. So does this one. These are the class names for it. So if you don't want them on your server, here's the class names where they're called. Just change these class names to something else that's, that you want on your server. but I just left them in there by default because the vehicles, they despawn anyway after a server reset, so not a big deal. The only thing I had to change in the minor missions was this helicopter crash. Was using this wreck, but it gives you a cannot create AI vehicle error in the RPT. So I changed it to this one. Just a different wreck, and that one doesn't give the error. This Hillbillies mission is the same as Stash House. I left it in there. It's redundant, but I left it in there. If you want to, you know, modify it or just take it out, whatever. So yeah, I'll put this on the forum so you can see these notes and stuff. I think that's it for the actual config. Pretty major rework, actually. That was a lot of work. Yeah, here you can see. This was the error message for the in the RPT. Couldn't create that rec, so it just wasn't there. It didn't break the mission, it just didn't have that rec, so I just changed it. Okay, let's go into game. I actually have Infostar installed now. Paid the 30 euros for it, so this should be easier. Let me show you. I think I had something spawn in over here. Let me turn the earplugs on. Okay, so that swapped out. I had a medical box in there before, but it's obviously gone now. Anyways, I'm gonna take this LAV, and I changed the mission markers. Major ones are blue, minor ones are orange. I thought that was funny, but the Wicked AI system uses what? Green, red, yellow, and gray. So I changed DZMS to orange and blue. This is the NATO weapons cache mission. Let me teleport over here, and I'll where'd it go? Where'd it go? I think it's up here. Yeah. Let me mow down these AI with this LAV, and I'll show you that large yield crate. So switch to that. That one has a Che tac. It's cute. Don't shoot the crate too much, you'll blow up the crate. There we go. Okay. There's one still. Okay, so this is the crate, the large yield crate. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 guns, that's about the average you get with the large yield. The small yield weapon crate, you get about 7 to 8. But that's, you know, if it's a major mission, I figured there should be a different crate for it. So as you can see, the weapons are pretty randomized in here. I figured it'd be kind of ACR and AK heavy, but it's not. A lot of random shit in there. Okay, let's check the AI. That one's got a large gun bag and a Dragunov with 2 mags. This is the check wallet feature. I have it enabled, so there's 4,500 coins off that guy. 3,000 there. And what do we got here? SKS, 3 clips. There's an AK with 3 mags. Check wallet, 2,500 coins. Yeah. All the guns are randomized. I was, you know, I figured it'd be a lot of AKs, and sometimes it is. You know, you get a mission where there's a lot of AKs and ACRs, but it's pretty randomized. There's an AK right there. What's this one? This one had a Chaytac, so watch out for this girl. But yeah, if you don't want that kind of stuff on your server, then just, you know, take it off. Just remove those class names. Yeah, and Masada, there's a Galil there. We got here, there's an ACR. There's a G3 variant. So it is working very good. The randomization is nice. I like it. But let's see, that's pretty much all I need to show you. Maybe we go to this other mission here. Teleport over there. And this is the weapons crate. Let's go to gunner seat. Switch to that. This. One of those had a high-end sniper. That's got an M76 there. Okay. Yeah, this one has a DM76 sniper rifle. Does it have magazines? So this one didn't spawn with any magazines. Sometimes they get like, you know, it's like a 0 through 3 thing, so sometimes they don't spawn with magazines. I guess you could change that. I just left it alone. This one didn't get any magazines either. Poor bastard. How are they all supposed to defend themselves? See, that one's got the belts. These are low yield crates, but there's 3 of them at this mission. So, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guns in there. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, 7. So you're looking at an average of 7. Sometimes it'll be a little less. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 7 guns on each of those. And you can see they're pretty randomized. I like it. Let's take a look at that AI. Hold on. I want to see this. Scripts AI spawn. Where does it do the somewhere in here it does the, I think it's actually in functions. Hold on. Functions. I wonder how this comes up with the magazines. It selects a random weapon there, and then it gets the magazines for it. But where does it say how many magazines it gets? I don't know. Somewhere in there, you can adjust that anyway. So if you don't want them to have 0 magazines, I'm not sure where it is right now, but you can adjust it somewhere in there. I thought it was on that file, but maybe not. No, doesn't say, I guess. Somewhere in here you can change the where it does the magazines. That's just okay. That's calling for the function here. Get weapon. What the fuck? Get weapon. Where are we at? Let's see. Get weapon. How does it choose the magazines though? It doesn't say. There it says get magazines, but it doesn't say how many. So sometimes they spawn without magazines for some reason. Somewhere, I don't know, maybe someone else can figure that out. But anyways, I just wanted to show you that. So that's it. This is all working good. There's no errors in the RPTs on any of this stuff. See, that guy's got 3 magazines. There's a big jumbled mess of AI. That one's got 3 magazines. Just sometimes it doesn't spawn the magazines. And let me check in my RPT real quick. But it doesn't give any, it doesn't say anything. Usually it would, you know, if it says you can't find magazines, but it's not saying any of that. So I think it's just something in there where it just, sometimes it doesn't give them the magazines. I don't know. But anyways, that's all I got. I'll put this on the forums and upload this to the GitHub. You guys take it easy.